I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact focused on personal growth, my Knowledge Workbook series and Creative Healing course can help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about when will your ex start missing you?
This is a really common question. Before we get into it, I did want to remind you all to subscribe to the channel if you would like some updates on what new videos we have to share. And I guess there's like a little notification bell.
You got to click the bell.
That you got to click.
You got to ring the bell.
You got to ring the bell.
Yeah, so when you're going through this breakup and you're stuck in this thought of, are they going to come back? Are they going to miss me? When? How long is it going to take? How long does no contact take, right? Because 10, 15 years ago, you see 30 days, no contact. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's delusional. Yeah. It doesn't work like that, okay? First of all, are you supposed to really ignore your ex if they reach out in 30 days? How is that good advice? And
why is it 30 days for everybody across the board?
Yeah, right?
30 days for a 10-year relationship ending, 30 days for
an avoidant,
a 3-month relationship ending. You know, you can't just apply like a set time to all relationships. It's not like we have a timer, right? So this isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, right? So it's going to really depend on the relationship. And there will be moments, even in relationships that weren't perfect, right? Even in relationships that did have a lot of conflict and turmoil, that an ex will start to miss you. So sometimes we might think back and, oh man, it's going to depend on the quality of our relationship. What if I view the quality differently than my ex views the quality of the relationship? Will that matter? When you're attached to somebody, even if it's not the perfect relationship, there will be some longing for that person. There was something enough to keep it going for the length of time that it did.
Yeah, no relationship is perfect, okay? There may be times where it feels wonderful and perfect, but no, there's going to be disagreements and arguments, and you're going to get on each other's nerves, and all kinds of issues are going to come up. But when are they going to miss you? Well, when you leave them alone, okay? It's a lot easier to miss somebody when they're not pestering you or, reaching out. I have a family member going through this right now that their ex would not leave them alone. They kept pushing, pressuring, showing up at their church. And unfortunately, they just keep making it worse and worse for themselves. And, now they are not only not missing this person, but they're creeped out by the behavior. You're gonna creep people out if you stalk them. I'm telling you guys, the last thing you want is for your ex to pick up the phone and go, ugh, cringe, like feeling of, I wish they would just stop already. And I get it. I know what it's like to be in your shoes. I know how hard it is to let go. I know how hard it is to go into no contact, but I can't stop you from reaching out. Only you can do that.
Yeah, and you have to be able to give them that time and that space in order for them to miss you, right? It's really hard to miss somebody who's right next to you, right? So sometimes creating a bit more of that space can have them go through some experiences which remind them of you. And so this leads me to my next point is triggers. There's a lot of memories and experiences the two of you had together that they will encounter on their day-to-day life without you having to do anything. You don't have to send a good reminder text in order for them to be reminded of you. It's going to happen. If the two of you shared some time, if they knew what your interests were, if you had experiences together, there's going to be things that remind them of that. Yeah. It can be something small. It could be another person. It could be maybe a
movie.
A movie.
Can you imagine any ex trying not to thinking about me when a new Star Wars movie or show comes out? It'd be impossible. The commercials come on every 15 seconds.
So it could be a movie. It could be a smell, right?
Hopefully a good one.
Hopefully a good one. For those of you who don't know, I'm super into fragrances. That's been my new hobby. But smell, it's one of those things that can kind of bypass a bit of your like frontal lobe, right? It goes straight to that memory center. You ever smell something and it takes you right back? Mm-hmm. So they're going through these experiences on their day-to-day life, and you don't have to force it on them. That's just part of having been attached to you and part of living life after a breakup.
Yep.
And so this reminds me of a client that I spoke to, and the thing that had reminded him, I mean, he was reminded all the time, but there was something in particular that stuck with me. And sometimes I do get teary-eyed during some of, our sessions, because we're human too, right? We have emotions, and sometimes there's things that just, I don't know, touch us in a certain way.
Yeah.
And so this person had said, I would sweep the floor and her hairs would still be in the dustpan.
Oh man, it's like when we find the Margaret paper clips all the time.
Yeah. And so you never know what will be the triggers or, things that remind your ex of you, and probably vice versa too.
Yep. We should share that little story. How funny was it? There was about a month ago, we sat down to film, and for some reason we were talking about Margaret and how Margaret would have an opinion on something we were talking about. Mm-hmm. And no more than 20 seconds later, I went to go grab a drink, and I walked right past the paperclip. Mm-hmm. How could I have missed it? I had walked past that spot all day and didn't see it till after we were talking about Margaret. And you looked at me and we were just like...
And what was cute was it stuck to the computer, so it almost like followed us.
Yes. Yeah, so when we brought the computers over here...
It was like magnetic too.
It was stuck.
Yeah. So interesting how that happened.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to think about her.
Right.
Just something as simple as a paperclip.
Right. And speaking on that, routines. When you do something continuously with a person, they're going to be in that routine as well. And so when you're not there, they're going to be thinking of you in those times where they would have done that routine thing with you.
Yep.
For a lot of people, we hear that breakups are really tough at night, when you're just alone in your bed. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, for a lot of couples, they have kind of nighttime rituals. Maybe you would kiss each other goodnight. Maybe you would watch a show and fall asleep. Maybe you would cuddle before you would fall asleep.
Yep.
Right? And so these are those kind of routine moments that do remind you and your ex about the relationship that happened.
Yeah, I talked about the Applebees girl. There was a certain point in the afternoon where we would usually talk. And so it would lead up to that point of the day, and it would be like, I'm in the car and I'm like, we're not talking. And part of me was secretly like wondering or hoping if she would call me at that time, thinking, I would be available for a little bit. Or that I would just naturally want to pick up the phone and call her. It's tough. And so, that's going to impact them as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, this is another one that some of you will hate and love to hear, but they may also be reminded of you through negative dating experiences that they have after the breakup, right? And so sometimes we cannot help but compare our experiences that we have with people right after a breakup to the relationship we just had, especially if it's shortly after that breakup, right? So maybe they go out with somebody who, smacks loudly when they eat food. My ex never did that, right? Or maybe it's somebody who doesn't open the door for them. I think, my ex always opened the door for me. This is odd, right? And so they will be reminded also by other experiences that they have, including with other people, unfortunately.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things to think about, but every day you're wanting to reconnect with them all day long. Your unconscious keeps going back to missing them and connecting them and wondering how they're doing it or how easy it is for them, or will they miss you, or when will they miss you? And, there are a lot of different factors that are going to play into that, what their attachment style is, and it's not just black or white, they're avoidant, right? It doesn't work like that. Yeah. It's like a spectrum. And at different points, we can be in different places based on how much stress we have, or how tired we are, or how good we feel. There's a lot of different factors. But also the quality of the relationship. Were you guys arguing for the last 6 months, or did some major thing happen, some big argument happened that led to a breakup, and they look back at the last 6 months and say, well, the relationship was really good except for this one big issue, or whatever it might be. So you can see that there's a lot of nuances to when they're going to miss you. but it builds up within inside them. Now, when you reach out, you take all that away. That build up, gone. That's why we say don't reach out, because you don't want to guess when they may be ready to talk to you. Trust me. Mm-hmm. If I thought it was going to be effective for you, I would tell you to do it. But what I've seen time and time again over the years is when you allow them to reach out when they are ready, they're going to be a lot more likely to fix this. When that anxiety has built up in them, they will do an indirect, direct approach. They'll contact you about the silly things that we hear all the time. Mm-hmm. And we're constantly hearing new ones.
Yeah, it's true. We hear that indirect, direct about the cat.
The cat. But lately I've heard about the bike for some reason. A bike.
Interesting.
Yeah, for some reason that one's been coming up a lot.
It's going to replace the cat.
Yeah, I don't know. People are catching on to the cat. Like, oh, I better not ask about that cat.
Let's get a bike.
So when it builds up inside of them enough, that curiosity builds up, and the fear of losing you builds up enough, that's when they look to connect with you. Mm-hmm. But, how you handle that is a whole different story.
Yeah.
The coming on too strong, the pressuring them, all of that, you cannot do. But it's important for you to do the work and get to a great place for when they do reach out, because it's going to take them time. It likely will take them some time to reach out. Most of you will not hear from your ex within 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. In my experience, it's not how it's been.
And it's different, We take more of a tailored approach, right? It depends on each situation, depends on what's going on, and people are so complex you can't just put like a timestamp on them, right? It's not like it's bread at the grocery store.
Yeah.
So the main thing here is, what are they missing out on, right? You want to validate them that they are missing out on something good here, right? Now, if we fall into this pit, which many of us do, and it's really difficult to get out of, where we self-blame and it's really difficult to move towards that personal growth, we kind of just beat ourselves up and stay there, then what are they missing out on, right? What would they be missing? Would they be missing a potential for a relationship that's really healthy and good and reciprocal, right? And so this is why we talk about continuing the work. We want to get to that place where it's not only about, is our ex missing us, but they're also missing out. They're missing out on the growth that I've done here. They're missing out on the things that I've learned, the skills that I've learned, on the partner that I can be now. So yes, they are likely going to miss you at some point. We've mentioned all those points, and we want to have that mindset of those memories will always be there. Mm-hmm. They're going to miss that person that you were in that relationship, and you are also evolving.
That's right. I know it's tough, mm-hmm. because when you're going through it and it feels like it will never end, I can tell you that most of you will hear from your ex at some point. You don't want to put your life on hold forever, okay? But that's not what we teach here. Mm-hmm. What we teach is to grow, to heal, to process, and to prepare for them to come back. But also, the work that we teach, if they don't reach out, if they don't come back for whatever reason, you're going to be so much more enlightened and confident and understand dating and relationships so much better than you ever did before. Mm-hmm, and that's a win in my book.
I agree.
All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'll be here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.